yet. You see what I mean? So now I'm going, wait a minute. The box-like object that that they're describing in the Bible might just be the carrying case for the power supply, which is something completely different, that generates the vortices and the singularity at the center. So I was starting to read this, and I'm like, okay, well, this is interesting, and I'm reading more, and it's saying that there's clouds above and there's clouds below and so on. And I thought, what do they mean by God? Right? Because they're calling it the Ark of the Covenant of God. So I did some research on that. Where is the word God coming from? What is this thing they call God? It's some kind of object. Okay? But what is this thing they're calling God? So I looked it up. And I looked everywhere and I couldn't find it. And finally, I found it in the preface of my Bible. Look in the preface of your Bible, and it will say where the word God was translated from. The word God was translated from the word tetragrammaton. Tetragrammaton. Oh my God. That freaked me out. Oh my tetragrammaton, yes. That freaked me out. Every time you read the word God in the Bible, you can translate it to tetragrammaton. And so I was looking at the root etymology of the word tetragrammaton. It's like, oh my God, how can I find a word so close to tetrahedron in the Bible? And I looked at the etymology, and it turns out that tetra, which is four, right, was used for, and grammaton has a root word that can be grammar. So four grammar, or four letters, are taught to be Yahweh, the four letters of God. Yeah, Yutevoti. However, when you dig a little deeper in the etymology of the word grammaton, it has actually a deeper root. And that root is four tetra, tetra, which is tetrahedron. Grammaton comes from the word gram, or gravity. Weight, it refers to weight, gram, and the effect of gravity. And that's where the word gravity came from, grammaton. So now you have a word for God, okay, that has the structure of a tetrahedron generating a gravitational effect. And I thought, well, that I'm pushing it, right? I'm sure, this is kind of wild. But hey, then I look up what the heck is the tetragrammaton in Kabbalistic tradition, and I found that it is an isotropic vector metric in 2D. Here is typically in Kabbalistic tradition the way God is represented. It's represented as isotropic vector metric. Remember, 4 faces, 3, 2, 1. It's like one face of the isotropic vector metric. And each letters of the word God has a number that goes with it. In Kabbalistic tradition, that's very important. Now you got to realize that the Kabbalistic tradition are the oral tradition of the Druidic history. These traditions were not to be written. They were not even supposed to be talked about. Only initiates could learn about these knowledge. It was thought to be the nature of God that was revealed. And if you understood it, you could understand God. So I was thinking maybe the Kabbalistic tradition is the explanation of what the power source inside that box is. That bright object. Go ahead.
I would also mention I'm a student of Kabbalah. And,
yes.
Yud means singularity.
That's right. And the center of the Kabbalistic tradition is that crown that unfolds onto itself to infinity, describing singularity. So I was puzzled with this. I found that the Tetragrammaton, right, was actually generating the numbers. So each letter in the isotropic vector matrix is a number. And the Kabbalistic tradition tells you that the numbers are just as important as the letters. And so when you calculate the numbers, you get 72, which is the 72 names of God that's found in the Bible, or the 72 faces of God, right? So that all match. But this is a male God. We're missing half the equation again. Why is it that in many of these ancient civilizations, some of them we didn't have time to see today, we only have half of the code? Well, that would be because if you were an advanced civilization trying to put a code, embed a code in a not so advanced planetary system, you wouldn't want these people to be able to uncode or decode that code prior to being ready for that type of power. So you could code the code, or you could make the code only one polarity of it, like the male polarity of the code. And it wouldn't be until that civilization understood the balance between the male and female, understood the equality between the male and female, that they would be able to decode the code. And then that would mean that they were ready to do it. You guys follow what I just said? So basically, here you have to add the female god or goddess to the tetrahedron or to the isotropic vector metric. And if you did, you have the double of these numbers. And the result would be 72 plus 72, given 144, which is thought to be the number of ascension in the in Revelation. As well, in Revelation it says that the New Jerusalem is a crystal city with rainbows all around it. And that crystal city has faces of 144. There is exactly 144 faces on the outside of a 64 tetrahedron metric. Nice. I thought I was onto it. And so I kept on reading the Bible, and I got really interested now, you know. And I'm like, oh my God, this is all about the technology. This is all about Atlantis. And I kept on reading, and I found something that